What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of Smoothie on Movies. I thank each and every one of you who took the time to check out the inaugural episode of Smoothie on Movies and my review of the 1982 horror film Trick or Treats. This week, in keeping with the tradition, I have another horror film from the 80s to present to you and give my thoughts and opinions on. This week's movie we're going to talk about is the 1986, maybe little known movie Trick or Treat. Don't confuse it with Trick or Treats. This is singular, not plural. Trick or Treat came out a week before Halloween in 1986. It did make nearly $7 million. It is your typical 80s cheese fest. As you can see here on the cover, it's very misleading. It has Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons, who both play a small role. None of these two are even major characters in the movie, but I guess to help sell and promote the movie, what a better way to do it than use two bigger figures in the music industry. The premise of this movie is Eddie, who is a bullied high school student, very much into heavy metal, who is played by Mark Price, and those of you from the 80s will know him better as Skippy from Family Ties. Suffers bullying day in and day out. He's an outcast because he listens to this type of music, metal music. And his favorite musician, Sammy Kerr, it's his idol, it is his hero, and you see early on he writes to Sammy like a pen pal would. They went to the same high school. He has that bond and connection. Early on in the film we find out that Sammy dies in a hotel fire and it crushes poor Eddie. But life goes on and Eddie has to go and deal with the struggles of teenage life and teenage angst and being bullied at school. Very much a typical bully get revenge film, only by using the last record given to Eddie by Gene Simmons, who plays the character Nuke, after Sammy's death. Only through playing this record backwards does he channel and make the spirit, or the ghost, if you will, of Sammy Kerr manifest, and helps him to take revenge on his bullies, as well as, well, the whole town. It gets out of hand. It's up to Eddie to stop the violence and put Sammy to rest once and for all. Overall, it's, like I said, it's your typical 80s movie. Very, very cheesy, and one would wonder why they got Mark Price to play the lead role. My only thoughts are, well, Michael J. Fox took off in Back to the Future, so Skippy's definitely going to sell this movie. But he did a good job. I joke, I really enjoyed this. I hadn't ever seen this. I was probably just turned 7 years old when this came out, so I hadn't yet found my enjoyment in horror movies yet. So I don't remember seeing it, and even growing up, my buddies and I, we'd always go to the video store, and whatever one, like I mentioned last week, had a great VHS artwork we'd pick up based on that. I don't remember seeing this one. I don't know how much of a release video stores it had, but because of the good people over at the Purple Stuff podcast, Jay from the Sexy Armpit and Dinosaur Dracula himself, Matt, they had mentioned this film on one of the episodes of the podcast, and I said, I have to check it out. It sounds fantastic. And I was very much thankful that I did get this and give it a watch, because I've watched it twice since then. I enjoy it thoroughly. And one of the strong pieces for me for this film is the soundtrack, and the music used in here is by a band, Fastway. But this soundtrack, it screams 80s heavy metal, hairband metal, whatever you want to call it, and that in itself helped sell this movie on me. And it is a solid soundtrack. I definitely recommend, if you have Spotify, check out the soundtrack. You won't be disappointed. As well as this movie, you won't be disappointed. Now, as you see, this is a combo pack. This I picked up for $7.50, so it's a bonus. I get to check out this other movie here, but I highly recommend Trick or Treat. Though it's not by any stretch of the imagination a blockbuster, it has what I think to be a good story, a good tale of revenge, and the way it's carried out, and using the backmasking, that was a hot button topic back in the 80s with rock and roll music. All rock and rolls were Satanist, as you will learn that in the movie, the cameo by Ozzy Osbourne, he plays a preacher condemning the evils of rock and roll, but the backmasking concept was a very hot button topic, and they did it well. And for him to extract revenge in that way, using his hero, Sammy Kerr, which I wish he was on here, I thought it was well done. It's shot fairly well. The effects are pretty good for the day, for what you had to work with. Minimal on the blood and gore. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure if there are any real blood scenes or bloody scenes in this, because the way that Sammy travels around is through electrical currents, and a lot of his deaths come by electrocution, pretty much vaporizing the people so they turn right to dust, so you don't see any blood. So other than that, it is good, and the way they do those effects are done well. There are a few cheesier effects with that. There's a scene in the car. I'm not going to get into the whole scene, but you'll have to check it out to see. It's very cartoony, like, and almost laughable, but other than that, still well done. The soundtrack, like I said, was great. The acting's not too bad either. It's your typical 80s movie. The whole bullying aspect, the little man or the outcast overcomes the same themes you see time and time again throughout 80s movies. So I don't know what else to say about this. I definitely give this movie, if I have to rate it, 4 zombie smoothies out of 5. It's just an overall, is it the greatest movie? No, it's absolutely far from it. There's mistakes in it. There's some places where you actually see boom mics, whatever, that weren't caught in editing, but I think that adds to the charm of this film. Highly recommend it. It is a fun ride from start to finish. So that is my thoughts and opinions on the movie Trick or Treat. Hopefully this sees a better release in the near future. Maybe Scream Factory will pick it up. I don't know. I think it deserves a better release. So that's it. Once again, that is my thoughts and opinions on the movie Trick or Treat. Thank you for checking out this. Again, hopefully with each week that these come out, I can build upon them and get better at doing the reviews. Still very new to this, but I thank you for taking the time to check it out and give me your opinions on this. And if you like this review, and if you've seen this movie, please let me know below in the comments, and go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really would mean a lot to me and help me out. So thank you, as always, for checking it out, and we will see you next week at the movies, or on the movies, or adios.